They're probably just going to ask you if you want to stay in the meeting. Okay. Hello. My name is Monica Prince, and I am so glad to have all of you here. Welcome. Let me put down my drink. Hold on. Welcome to the final reading of the semester. What is it? Of the year for the SFWP Quarterly. I'm so excited to have you all here. We're going to have a fantastic time. So welcome. This particular reading is dedicated to our never published marginalized authors, which is spectacular. It was a very hard issue to curate because what does it mean to never be published? We're super pumped to have you all here. It's going to be incredible. So excited. Okay, so before we get started, to let you know, my name is Monica Prince. I am the managing editor of the Santa Fe Writers Project Quarterly, which means I help curate all these issues, which is wonderful. It's such a pleasure to edit this one. This time I co-edited with my acquisitions editor and the prose editor of the Quarterly, Nicole Schmidt, who is currently racing from up north to be here. Hopefully she makes it. We have high hopes, but if she doesn't, it's okay. Like, y'all are still fabulous. It's fun. So I'm so excited to have you here. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of housekeeping to let you know what's going on. So first and foremost, we're running this through a normal Zoom meeting, which means we might get Zoom bombed, but never fear. I'm on it. If some of the settings on your screen suddenly disappear, it's because I'm trying to avoid something horrible happening. Please keep yourself muted during the entire reading, but feel free to turn on your cameras. Y'all are doing that. I love it. It'll feel like we're all together, kind of, sort of. Also, feel free to use the reaction features to applaud and cheer. I'm a big fan of the reaction features. And at the end of the reading, we'll have a grand unmuting where we can all applaud and toast our readers, and it'll be great. So each reader will read for about 5 minutes, and our final reader, our special guest, Christopher Gonzalez, will read for about 8 minutes, so manage your expectations accordingly. So some special thanks to our founder and editor-in-chief, Andrew Gifford, whose royalties have been donated to pay all the writers in this issue, which I think is wonderful, and also to the incredible social media and marketing team led by Lindsay Stencio, I always say her name wrong, Stencio, and Wendy Fox for handling all the promotion for this issue. So if you've seen your pieces quoted all over social media, it's them. They did that. So please visit our SFWP website to read the full issue. It should be in the chat. To tip our readers and to patronize our catalog. And I'll just keep telling you that all day, like all day. If you have any technical issues, feel free to message me directly through the chat. I'm just going to give a blatant content warning because some of these pieces may contain strong language, sexual content, activating material. You'll probably laugh, you might cry a little bit, especially if Chris reads what I think he's going to read, but it's going to be great. And I'm excited, so you should be excited. So we're gonna get started. Instead of reading from our intro, if y'all saw the issue, you know that the intro itself is a video recording of Nicole and I attempting to do fun things. Nicole tried to do a cartwheel, sort of did it. I tried to flip a cup on my butt, I failed. It's fine. The idea was to do things we've never done before. So we're doing this the way we've never done it before. We're so grateful to have you all here. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us and giving us space to give you space to read. So without further ado, one of our readers had to drop out last minute. We're very sad that Evan Lambert couldn't be here, but we hope that, you know, all the things that are going on in life are okay. So to begin, our first reader is Marissa Jules. So Marissa Jules, this is her fabulous bio. Marissa Jules lives with her wife, Veronica, and their pup, Thurman, outside Atlanta, Georgia. She writes about her journey recovering from childhood trauma and photographs whatever catches her eye. Please help me welcome the stunning and fabulous Marissa Jules.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. Today I'll be reading a piece called Birthday 2.0, which is a flash piece I wrote earlier this year as a follow-on to fill in space between The Bridge, which was the piece that I submitted and have published. And so I'm going to jump right in. It's relatively short. So I pasted a link to a copy of it, Google Doc, if y'all want to follow along. And so there it is. So here we go, Birthday 2.0. You pull into a bright concrete parking deck on an aggressively sunny Tuesday morning in April. It's just a trip to the pharmacy, you tell yourself, nothing to get anxious about. You will climb those stairs, walk up to the counter, and get your prescription filled just like any other day. Plenty of people get prescriptions filled on sunny spring Tuesdays. This is no big deal, you tell yourself. A narrow Formica counter nestled between two others reminds you of a highly clinical bank teller window. Uncomfortably, you give your name and then health account number. It's fitting this reminds you of a bank. because the items about to change hands are precious indeed. Like Forrest Fenn's treasure, people have died trying and failing to obtain this specific prize. The small white bag, along with some instructions, are exchanged for $20 and the transaction is complete. This is just like any other day, you tell yourself, so you can smile pleasantly to thank the pharmacist without acting like a deranged person. You turn away from the clinical cubicle, thinking there has to be a bathroom here somewhere as you walk away. You walk across the lobby to discover a pair of single-stall, gender-neutral restrooms and repeat your mantra. This is just a Tuesday like any other. The door closes silently behind you as the blazing fluorescents sting your eyes in a space reflective with tile and mirrors. You click the lock shut and set your takeout coffee cup next to the white bag on the gleaming counter. You try to tell yourself again, this is just like any other day, but as you take the bottle of pills out of the bag, you know it isn't. Despite the instructions you received less than a minute ago, you reread the bottle. A single white pill is washed down, leaving a slight hint of mint under bittersweet coffee. The cardboard box, which emerges next, reminds you of a small deck of cards, except for the pink wedge across the front. The foil packet emerges shimmering in your fingers, not from the light, but from your anxious hand. You finally admit this isn't any other day, and it's not just any prescription. The time has finally come. You scooch down your jeans and underwear to reveal your right hip before you tear the foil. You smooth an oval patch, a second adhesive skin onto that right hip. It wrinkles. Your heart skips a beat. You frantically half remove, straighten, and re-smooth it down. Hopefully it will still work. You check. Yes, the directions say it can be removed and reapplied if needed. The remains of the protective shell go into an exceptionally large trash can for such a small space. The can seems fitting as you are discarding more than just a wrapper in here. You step back again into the bright April morning. Though you know it's not actually possible, you imagine you can feel the estrogen from the patch in your hip flowing into your veins, rebuilding you anew. You walked into that bathroom on your last day as a man and have emerged reborn on your first day as a woman. Thank you.
Yay! That was an excellent link to the bridge. Everyone read the bridge. It's amazing. That was stunning. Thank you so much, Marissa. We really appreciate that. Yay! Oh, spectacular. Ah, I can listen to you read all day. That was awesome. 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 Oh, spectacular. Okay, up next. We have the stunning and spectacular Sian Thomas. Sian Thomas is a recent first-class honors graduate of an English and creative writing joint degree at Cardiff Metropolitan University. She is currently, living in Saltish, England?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Saltish, England, with her ever sleepy black cat and ever itching desire to explore her writing style, working to see just how far it can be pushed. Help me welcome the stunning and spectacular Sian!
Hello. I've also dropped my Google Doc into the chat. It is 7 p.m. here. I'm sure it's 2 p.m. for almost all of you. I'm very tired. Excuse me if I make any mistakes. Okay. She was a little rough around the edges with a forehead that was as oily as mine, and I could have loved her. I really could have, with her long brown hair that glittered in the sunlight and her fingertips that she'd bitten down into stumps so that she could play the guitar better. I could have held them in mine if she'd let me, and I would have kept them there forever. I would have followed her obediently when she moved from one room to the next, or from one city in the bottom of the UK to the top. I would have done anything and everything, fought with tooth and nail and gun and knife to keep her at my side. She was every sunset, every shade of orange, every color that the sky has ever shown me all at once. I thought she could have been God if she gave it a try, because it might have worked. Her voice was soft but also suggesting, leading me by the nose from one decision to the next, and her feet would step and say, look and see, and if I can do it, you can, and I believed them. I believed her when she said things with her gentle tongue, like, let's do this again, and I want to do so much with you, and I hope I never lose you. I wanted to live in her mouth, well-behaved and unmoving, squashed between her pretty white teeth, to show her you can have anything you want, you can have me. And despite all of that, I still ended up here. And for a while, he didn't understand it, and sometimes I don't either. But here feels like home, rather than the loose promise of one. Here feels like July mornings and forgetting what day it is. It's like the sun itself, rather than the colors bleeding through the clouds from it. And there is a difference between the heat of the sun and the assumed but distant heat of the sunset's fiery colors. Thank you. That was a hybrid piece, so it went from pink for the bisexual flag over to blue to show my relationships. Thank you.
Yay! I'm so glad you read that one. That one's so good. Y'all gotta check it out because it looks fabulous, like online. It looks so cool. It's so cool. Oh, fabulous. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was amazing. All right, we're just clipping along. I love it. It's fabulous. Okay. Last but certainly not least, the stunning and spectacular Christopher Gonzalez is going to read, hopefully from this, but it's okay if you don't, but you better read from this. Okay. Christopher Gonzalez is the author of the debut story collection, I'm Not Hungry, But I Can Eat, which comes out from SFWP in 16 days. We're so excited. So now I'm gonna read from your fabulous bio, which I think is in the back because I haven't opened this copy yet. Hold on, there it is. Okay, we're ready. All right. Christopher Gonzalez is a 2021 NYSCA/NYFA Artist Fellow in Fiction from the New York Foundation for the Arts. His writing has appeared in The Nation, Catapult, Best Microfictions, Best Small Fictions, Forward, 21st Century Flash Fiction, and elsewhere. He serves as a fiction editor at Barrel House and lives in New York, Brooklyn, New York, but mostly on Twitter at Lives in Pages. We're so excited to have you read from your debut collection, I'm Not Hungry, But I Can Eat. Christopher Gonzalez, everybody! Woo!
Thank you, Monica. It's really an honor and privilege to read with Marissa and Sean. Congrats on your first publication. That's huge news. And fittingly, I thought I would read one of my not previously published stories from the collection. So I'm going to read a story called Enough for Two to Share, and I'll drop a link here in case anyone wants to read along. All right. Now it's called Enough for Two to Share. When the bartender tells him the chicken finger appetizer is more of a meal than a snack, he slides over a stool and says, "This guy, I'll share with you." And you think nothing of splitting a meal with a stranger, of intertwining greasy fingers, napkins blotting crumb-coated lips so words can flow, mastication, its own union. He starts with his name, which you don't quite catch, later entering it into your phone under a single M. He says he works for an upscale restaurant an avenue over, handles their inventory, makes enough so he and his girl, so there is a girl, can hold on to the junior one bedroom in Washington Heights. Says he's Puerto Rican, like yourself. He slaps you on the arm when he says it, and you're all too eager to confirm the accusation. He hovers around you like burning incense. He speaks, and the gentle smoke of his cologne comforts you. The first round of drinks is a shot of Jaeger with a Blue Moon to chase. So is the second and third. The black licorice taste is an affront to your tongue, but burying disgust is a muscle you know how to flex. He dunks his chicken fingers good in honey mustard, crams 4 or 5 in his mouth at a time, chewing wildly. You hold back, swallow one before daring to grab another. When you meet M, you've been in therapy for about 3 months, got yourself a straight, affluent white male therapist, which is hilarious because, against your better judgment, this means you spend each session seeking his approval. You hate that you've been conditioned to react in any way to the firm voice of a white man. You don't crawl towards him like a dog. You crave the pressure of his foot on your chest. Wonder if he could stomp straight through to your heart, if he'd draw circles in your blood with his toes. He only ever wants to talk about your father, the gash created by his absence, so he can properly interrogate your everyday pain. You'd rather talk about love now, companionship now. There's a cockiness to the way he speaks to you. He withholds eye contact, reclines in his chair, both hands cradling the back of his head. What might you say to him about M? How, after 2 hours of drinking yourself dizzy and listening to him talk about the fights he's gotten into, over women, for women, with women, despite women, you stay and order another round of drinks, charge it to your aching credit card. How you don't flinch when he says his girl hangs around with too many fags, or when he says no homo after grazing his knuckles across your knee. After the 5th round, you feel intoxicated by the pure liquor of his trust. You double over laughing and throw your arms around him for a hug, just a hug between dudes, friend shit, nothing gay about it, nothing at all, and make a temporary home from your cheek pressed into his neck. You're a little funny, he says. Somehow you're both outside and there's a cigarette between your fingers. The nicotine has you floating in place. He asks if you've ever been in a fight. You don't grow up like us and not get a few scrapes. He avoids eye contact when he says it, releases the words into the night air, but you catch their meaning, the greater similarity that you share. You tell Em about the summer afternoons spent in your father's garage, throwing your whole body into a punching bag. As a kid, you were predisposed to surrendering, a cause of great concern for your father, who would scold you for picking female fighters in video games, for wearing pink in the summer, for sometimes skipping on the way to the park, as if such choices meant you were a sitting duck, vulnerable to hawks in the sky waiting to pluck you from the water with their hard beaks. He wanted you to know how to fight. You're too chicken shit, he'd say, too much of a pussy. Beating the bag and bruising your forearms and fists against its leather was easier than conversation. While you threw punches, your father hyped you up until your arms went limp. But it made you stronger? Em asks. I'm not sure, you say, but I guess I'm here. You once told your therapist that most nights feel like currents in a stream, that you wake the next morning disoriented, groggy from the rush. Tonight is a riptide pulling you under the surface. One moment you're outside the bar, watching Em stomp a cigarette beneath his foot, and the next you materialize in the frigid corner of an uptown A train. Em is telling you about his 3 kids, all boys, different moms. They're spread out across the country. You imagine the dotted line, Los Angeles to Miami to New York, constellations of Latinx communities he tore through to wind up here. He's only close with the one kid in New York, 9 years old. Just celebrated his birthday last week, he says. He places a calloused hand on your thigh, slides it through the opening in your shorts until it slips beneath the fabric of your briefs, cups around your balls. The air conditioning is blasting. The place where he touches you pulses with warmth. I've busted my ass for years to get what I got, he says, but nobody gives me credit. He strokes your shaft. No one, he says. He grips your dick harder and you squeeze your legs together, grinding down into the seat. When you come, your therapist's smug face flashes into your mind. His apartment is exactly as described. Cramped, 1 bedroom. I know what you're thinking, he says. She's working the graveyard shift. You hadn't stopped to think about the her of the equation, and now it feels too late. Em takes off his shirt, tosses it onto the couch. You remove your shoes, kick them to a corner, and begin unbuckling your belt. This is all so routine. When you first started meeting strangers for sex, you wondered if maybe you were doing it all wrong. If maybe you didn't have to meet them in the middle of the night, quietly, tiptoeing down unlit hallways to bedrooms in a whisper, something easily ignored. And now there's the faint footprint of this woman in Em's life. Dehydration curls around your lips. You lick them and run your tongue along your teeth, catching a hint of grease. Em pulls you in and you're ready for a kiss, ready to cross the line into new territory. Kissing someone discreet, disrupting his relationship with your body. Are these the right questions? Your therapist will ask. The kiss is delicate, tender, not at all what you expect. Men in their 40s and 50s have been kind to you, treating you at times as something fragile, at risk of shattering. But men in their 30s, like Em, tend to be rougher with you and a bit cruel. They often look past your humanity when given the opportunity of a quick nut. And when they're thinner, your body becomes their personal plaything, a doll that can be flipped and pressed down, splayed open on command, a handheld Hoover vacuum at their service. Hey, Em says, his hand around your neck. You tense up at first, then give in to its heat. The rough edge to his skin is soothing. Could you punch me here? He places your hand on his chest, as hard as you can. The first punch demands nothing of you. Like this? Yeah, he says, but harder. I'll tell you when to stop. And so you hit him, again, then again. harder each time until pain radiates up and down your arm and his chest is slick with sweat, the hair matted. You keep punching, skin to skin, a knuckle into the meat of his pec. You switch to your left hand when the right goes numb. He tears up, he grunts. The noise is piercing like a bark. And the satisfaction of making another grown man cry floods you. Sometimes you need to let it out, your therapist would say. Sometimes you need to let it go. See? How does that make you feel? Right now, you need to center yourself. There won't be a tomorrow, only tonight. The room is unsteady, heavy around you like the deep end of a pool. You're drained, flaccid. You crave fresh air in your lungs and escape from the apartment funk. But you need to hang in until the end, don't you? Finally, M falls back onto the couch. The skin on his chest is hot pink, steaming. You take a deep breath. Exhaustion is a sagging weight, but you continue to stand. You're game for anything at this point, aren't you? You've made it this far. Keep it going. Sit on my face, you say. M doesn't hesitate. He's on his feet, sinking into the couch, and then you're working your way between his legs, the cushion sticking to your back. Above you, M is fire, M is shade. Your tongue is wet, eager. I think we both needed this, he says. He lowers his ass to your mouth. You open your lips. Yes, yes. There you go. There you go. Thank you.
Yes! I'm so glad you read that one. That one is so good. Yes, 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 yes! That was amazing! Thank you, Chris. Yeah! I love that one so much. That was fabulous. Okay, of course, now we're gonna do our great unmuting. So I'll just ask y'all to unmute and it'll be fine, and we'll just cheers and it'll be fabulous. So unmute and we'll congrats. Yay!
Yay!
Happy publication team, congratulations. It is such an honor to publish your debut work. Please send us more work. Please send us more work. We would love to read and publish more of what you have. We're so excited to have you here. Follow us on everything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Support our Patreon, subscribe to our newsletter. What else do we have? Buy the books, review the books on the internet. What else? Tell your friends to review the books on the internet. Do all the things. We're so grateful to have you in our circle. We cannot wait to publish more of your work. We're so excited to be part of your journey into publication dumb or whatever. So, anything else? Did I get everything? Did I miss anything? Yeah? There you go. Andrew's got the links. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Twitter's probably the fastest one that'll link you to everything else because we're always on Twitter. We're so grateful to have you in our space. Thank you so much. I'm gonna let y'all go because Sean is sleepy. So like, let's let Sean go. Go to bed. I didn't realize you were actually in England. I don't know what part of me like.
Yeah. No.
Part of me thought that you were not in England. I don't know because like I saw it in the bio. I was like, yeah. Time difference. That's fine. At least I didn't do it on daylight savings. I did that for the first reading this year. It was like on daylight savings. And one of our readers was in Italy. And they're like, what time does it start? I'm like, I don't know. Like, just show up. Like, we'll figure it out. It's fine. It's totally fine. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. I'm gonna stop our recording.